You're able to screen share so I can see it. There you go. Alright. Just double checking if stream can hear me or not. They can indeed. Coolio. Alright, hello everyone. Hope we're all doing well for the next match of the round of 32s of the 5-digit UK Cup, or 5 UK. I've said it right, I'm a bit more on, don't worry. I'm a bit tired today. Today we have the Seed 11 timmoltommol. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm very sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Versus C22 Baz. I'm very interested in this match. The last time we saw a match with the commentators, which I commentated with Stormer yesterday, last time we had a match with decent seed difference. We saw almost, not necessarily an upset because Ava played super well, which was expected from Seed 6, but we saw a very good performance from She, despite being a lot lower overseed and the expected result being a lot more of a one-sided sweep than it was compared to the actual match that did happen. And I'm kind of hoping something similar happens here, where Baz comes out with some crazy scores, and timmoltommol here comes out with some also, great scores on their own half. So, I'm hoping this gets close. There could be an upset, there could be, it could just be an expected result. Time will tell, so let's see how it goes. And it seems that Baz is going to be picking the No Mod 4 to start the match, which is going to be a very interesting starter pick. It's not necessarily a long map, but it's quite a combo-dense map. From what I remember of this map, it was a 1500 combo map within about 2 minutes. So there's a lot of, mechanical requirements. I mean, it's about 175 BPM, so it's nothing out of the comfort zone for a lot of these players, but it's still something that, you should probably make sure you're ready for and confident with, especially with the fact this map is a no mod 4 on top of that. So you're going to have so many aim requirements required to hit sliders, comfortably on this kind of map. Yeah, now this map has started. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, and early in, both these players seem relatively confident. There's, it's only the intro. There's nothing to have problems with them, but the map does start to kick off now as these sliders and bursts start to up in their frequency, and getting to that 200 combo mark, neither player seems to be having an issue, which is, something good to see. I like to see that, these players are confident on this map pool, and it is a relatively low star rating map pool, so, a lot of these players in this rank range will have some level of comfortability on it, but that tournament, that tournament experience will also come into play where, sure, you might be comfortable on the star rating, but you might not be comfortable playing against an opponent. And Baz does find a very unfortunate break on that slider, just kind of almost out of nowhere on the slow section, which is, something you don't want to have, not on a map this short, and, this far into the combo, where it's about 500 combo into the map now. There's another 1,000 combo to go, sure, but it's in such a short span that you're praying now that your opponent finds a miss. Especially now that you're, kind of on the attacking foot, where timmol's not having to defend their combo and to keep themselves going forward here. Because if timmol does find an unfortunate break, even at this kind of section, anything could further happen, but, Baz just has to now hold on for dear life and, maybe even try to win on the act game, but that combo is going to cause a bit of a major difference going forward here. And getting into these small cut bursts, which all of these players seem to hit perfectly fine with the accuracy, going to the more slider intersection with his bursts and bursts following. And Baz drops a small bit of accuracy, but does hold onto that combo, and so does timmol, where they don't have a single problem with it. Both these players just continuing to progress forwards on their combo. And it doesn't seem that timmol's going to be finding a miss anytime soon. 1,000 combo in. That scoreline is 200,000 difference. Almost 300,000 difference now. And Baz, building up that combo back up, seeing a solid 700 combo, which is not bad at all. But, your opponent just hasn't missed, Baz, so you need to keep attacking forwards if you want any chance to bring this point backwards to your favor. But there's 250 combo 250 combo left of the map, or not even, and, it just isn't enough with that 300k difference. And timmol does actually full combo. I thought this map had 1,500 combo, not 1,200. That is on me. That's a very good score to start the match off, though, timmol. I mean, that's a break point to start the match. And, a score of 98.5 on the No Mod 4. That sets the pace for this match quite early in. That's not a score you want to see if you're Baz, picking into your own map, and that's what your opponent does. That's gotta be terrifying if I'm honest. That's not something I'd want to be, in the position of. But now it is up to Timmol to actually find, to choose the next pick. That's a misread a stack. That is super unfortunate. That's not something you want to run into. And I believe that is a DT3 coming out. Okay, I have just, yeah, so as we've seen, the stream doesn't show up properly just yet, but the bans were the No Mod 1 and the DT2. So we're getting rid of a bit of raw aim and getting rid of that, that very mechanical DT2, which we did see yesterday, actually. You know, it's a very intense map, but, it seems these players don't want to play into it, which is understandable. Yeah, this DT3 is the map we're going to be going into. Now, this DT3 is, it's nothing too difficult. It's, it's under the 6-star range, which is expected for this entire map pool. 260-ish BPM. It's a relatively short map. It's 1 minute 30, with about 800 combo. And, the approach rate's in comfortable reading zone. It's about, 9.7, so these players shouldn't have an issue with the numbers of the map itself, but when it comes to the actual map itself, that's the more important part, and see if these players are comfortable on it. And getting early in, I mean, the combos are identical, but the accuracy for timmol is a quite a significant bit lower than it is for Baz right now. Baz sitting about that 97, 98, whereas, timmol's now sitting about 94, 95, just building it back up. But we are about 250 combo into the map. The map is just starting, and there's definitely a good bit of map left. But a miss at this point now going forwards will be critical. But Baz just builds the accuracy going forward, which is going to be very, very ideal for them. Getting that 98.2% accuracy, which is currently giving them almost every bit of score lead that they have. As Timmol sits about 95, but matching that combo. So even if Baz does find a break, there's still a chance for Timmol to switch that scoreline over. But vice versa, and Baz does actually find the break as I was mentioning it, which is very not ideal for them, as Timmol now just starts to build that combo lead. I mean, the accuracy's still on the lower end, but Baz has dropped quite a bit of accuracy now too, and that combo lead is just going further and further. Timmol, 560 combo out of 800. There's not much map left for Baz to, fix the score on, especially now with that score lead being about 200k already, and it's just a very unfortunate position for Baz to be in, finding on a very unlucky break. Which, it's not something you want to have, making your opponent get to 2-0 so early in, because I would say this map is over with that break where it is, and the fact there's less than 100 combo left of the map. That's such an unlucky break, I can't stress it enough. As Timmol does find back-to-back full combos. That's genuinely quite an impressive play. I mean, you can see that Timmol's put some practice into this map pool, getting back-to-back FCs, one of them being a break point, the other one not. But Baz did put out some seriously good accuracy, just finding another unfortunate miss 2 maps in a row. So these scores could actually be a lot closer than, than the qualifier results that we're expecting. Because, if Baz doesn't find a very unfortunate miss anywhere, these scores are so close, and I think Baz wins that point because just off accuracy, but that's not how it works, sadly. That unfortunate miss did happen, and you do only get one chance in a tournament, which is what makes these matches so stressful for players. And it seems Baz wants to pick into that Hard Rock too, going to the Precision map. Now, we also did see this yesterday. It's not something that's too difficult for a Hard Rock 2. It is one of the shorter maps in the pool, if not the shortest map in the pool. And it's definitely not easy. I should clarify that now. It's not an easy map. CS 6.5 is always going to come with some challenge, which is, what you expect from Precision and any Hard Rock 2 to exist. And it's about the same length as the D3 we just seen, so, that combo, any early break will cause a major problem for players. So it seems that neither of these players have not actually put too much practice into this map, or just don't enjoy this kind of map, but Baz is picking into it in hopes that they're just a small bit more confident than Timmol is. And as you can see from Timmol, decided just to only play it once, which is understandable. If you're not a fan of Precision maps, then Precision will just always be something that's a good bit of a struggle. And I will say, yeah, Precision's always a hard skill set to get right, especially when, just a small bit of nerves can always just throw you off immediately, where you just shake around the note when you're convinced you're playing on it. And we're actually seeing a small bit of shake early in from Baz here. I think those nerves are starting to creep in. But the accuracy for Baz is, actually doing quite well. I mean, we're only about 90 combo in, but it's definitely way in favor by almost 4%. And Timmol does find an early break, which means the 3-in-a-row FC is not happening this match. But it's still chances for good scores to come across the board, especially with Baz after finding a very unfortunate chain miss. And that 60 combo difference, could start moving the score lead just a small bit. But both of them do trade each other out exactly on the same note, so that accuracy favor for Baz is going to be doing, quite a good favor for them. As they, start to recover combo. Both players building the exact same rate right now. And the accuracy just for Timmol just seems to be dropping a small bit, and a small bit of shake on those bursts. I think nerves are coming into for both of these players, which means really unfortunate breaks could start to happen at any point. This map isn't, it's not terrifying in the sense where there's not much to always go on. But again, it's that precision that's really going to catch people off guard, especially when both these players are showing some nerves. And both of these players do hit the triangles, but Timmol does find a very unfortunate miss on the sliders, and Baz finds a really unfortunate slider break after the intense slider section. But the aim control doesn't seem to catch any of these players out. But Baz is just finding unfortunate breaks on these sliders, which is not ideal, especially now that Timmol's built the combo and started to take over that score lead, especially close to the ending. And that shake is just really starting to show for Timmol, but it isn't a problem at the end of the map as Timmol takes the 3rd point home within the last few seconds, which is so unfortunate. That chain miss, well, I say chain miss, it was a 2 miss from Baz on that burst, and it just shows that difference. The misses at the end really do just show off that score difference really badly, as Baz does find an unfortunate miss at that ending, showing that point, moving the point over in favor of Timmol, making it 3-0. This was what the scoreline was for the last match that we had commentated, and this is the point where she in the last match did actually start to bring points back, and maybe that could happen here for Baz. I'm interested for what the pick here for Timmol will be, because they've not really had a problem with any map. I mean, they weren't confident on that Hard Rock 2, but still moved into their favor perfectly fine. And now that it's their pick, they could bring this to match point and, maybe force Baz to have a small bit more of a bit more nerves, knowing that any point could be the point that they, are sent down to the losers bracket. And it seems we're going to that hidden one. Now, this hidden one is a bit more of a consistency map, with it being about 3 minutes long. It's one of the longer maps in the pool, but it's, relatively simple in its hidden one. It's just quite, a bit more control, it's a bit more like aim control, tapping control. With this map does have a small bit of changes here and there, but it is consistent. In fact, it's 180 BPM the entire way through. So if you're confident on this BPM, which, if at this rank, for quite a few players I expect them to be comfortable at, this map shouldn't cause too many issues. And so this map does just test that hidden capability, that beginner hidden capability. But it's nothing to, go in and be very overly confident with, because, misses can come out of anywhere. And even with it being relatively easy for a hidden map, it's still hidden at the end of the day, where, something unfortunate can always happen with the mysteries, and you do need to have a basic level of hidden confidence to play it in a tournament. And just very early in, Timmol is showing that with a good SSS to start the map with. As Baz, starts the map with about 95% accuracy, which isn't bad at all. But it's just going further into the map where, that hidden comfortability will really start to show. Yeah, and the small bit of those small bit like jump sections, aim control sections, whatever you want to call them, don't really catch either player off guard here. And the accuracy for Timmol is the only reason why they're currently ahead in that score lead, because no player seems to find a break early in. A whale. Oh, but it does drop 250s right after the break, but the accuracy isn't going to suffer too much from that just yet. Staying about 98% accuracy, they're still in the lead. And let's see if these sliders into burst catch any players out, because this was a critical point last time, and it does. It catches out Baz on the 4th note of the burst right before the slider, which is so unfortunate. But it does catch timmol out as well. This section has just shown so many breaks for every player I've seen play so far. It's just not as easy as it might seem, because those bursts, you know, are just maybe a note longer than you would expect, and having to snap to a slider, it just catches players out, and as it happens again for Baz. So these combos are just now kind of on the lower end for both players. Think about 120 for Timmol, 60 combo for Baz, and that lead is still just going to keep moving in favor of Timmol as this map continues forward, unless they find another break at some point. But in this slow section, I don't know if that's going to happen just yet. Oh, and Baz does find another break on the 1/3 section, which is not ideal. Not when you're shaking, not when you're nervous. You don't want to be in this situation right now, Baz. You need to start building up as soon as possible if you want to catch back up, because there's just enough map left if Timmol finds a break soon. But that actually drop is not gonna help your chances, Baz. And Timmol just seems to hold their way through it. I was saying about almost 99, which is generally fantastic for a map like this, even with the breaks. And the slow slider not catching any player out, which is quite impressive. Timmol not finding a break at this point, I think, does close this point out, because there's not much left for Baz to build an advantage on. Even with it being a longer consistency map, there's just the density of the notes are just not high enough for a possible comeback on this point, I don't believe. And especially without a miss coming in from Baz, I think that does finalize this point. Yeah, and that's another point in Timmol's favor, making it 4-0, which is not the situation you want to be in if you're Baz. I mean, you're backed up against the wall now. You are, you know, I mean, it's their pick. Baz has the chance to, you know, maybe sway the momentum the other way, but you would have to be stressed in this situation if you want to try and bring this back, because, you know, you have one map at this point to, you know, maybe try and switch the tides over, maybe break the momentum for Timmol. But it's just, you know, you have to pick something you're extremely confident with. And with this point in, I think, you know, some of those picks might be gone, but Baz does pick into the hidden 2. Which means we're going to be going into the older map set. We're going into a Doomsday map. And it's, as you expect from a lot of older map sets, it's a lot more of a linear map. It is low AR hidden. It is sitting at a solid AR rate, which is, you know, something you'd expect from average hidden 2s now. And kind of always. But it's, you know, this linear map type is, you know, something that maybe new gen players aren't very used to. I mean, I myself, I've been playing since 2021. I wouldn't be comfortable on a map like this. I didn't, you know, I didn't have a start on O2 playing maps like this, so this would be something for me a bit out of my comfort range. But if you put Brax into it, which you'd hope that these players have for a map like this, you know, maybe it's something they'll be comfortable with. Alright, and there are both the good lucks coming out from both players, which means we are going to be going into this hidden 2. It seems like Baz wants to actually go back to that hidden 1, you know, with the whale background. Just you know, wanting to run it back, and I respect it. But no, both players are on this hidden 2. It is match point, and Baz has to pull out something crazy here if they want any chances to bring this scoreline back. And that unfortunate early break is not ideal, but we're very early into this map, you know, it's nothing too critical just yet, unless Timmol wants to find an FC, but maybe that comfortability for Baz is not as comfortable as we were expecting or hoping for, because there's quite a few early breaks coming out, which is not ideal when, you know, you're backed into a corner and needing every point now to bring it back. And Timmol just holding on to that SS. They were questioning if they were going to be comfortable on this hidden 2, but so far they're showing no problems whatsoever. And it seems Baz is now starting to find their footing, getting used to this kind of map style, and building the accuracy and combo back up now. But does find an unfortunate break, as I say. I'm so sorry, Baz. I might have just killed your chances. But Timmel's still sitting at solid 99.7% almost. What are you doing on this map, Timmel? Come on. You've just got to respect it at this point. And Baz is just really unfortunate. He's finding, a lot of struggles on this map. But Timmel does find a break. But I don't think it's going to matter too much because Baz doesn't have much combo to try and overwhelm with. And the accuracy is just not in their favor either. That scoreline being over 200k at this point. In a 1v1, that's not something you want to see. That's not ideal at all. And on this break, both these players have seen that. Which means Timmel is going to be playing so calmly now. I mean, they've not got a thing to worry about. Because they're matching Baz's combo at this point. They've got the accuracy lead. They've got a score lead that's so marginal that it just... Even a break here won't matter too much. And Baz, I think those nerves are starting to really creep in a lot more. Finding a lot more misses on this Hidden 2. Really seeming to struggle on this kind of map set, which was what I was saying at the start of the map. These old maps are unique in the way they're made. They're so much more linear. They're so different to today's kind of mapping style. And if it's not something you're comfortable with, it's really just gonna keep catching you out. Because this map doesn't really change. It doesn't bring in a modern aspect because, when this map was made, this was what was the modern mapping. And it seems Timmel is just comfortable on this kind of map. They've put some practice into this map style, and it's definitely showing in their score and accuracy. 600k, we're just sitting about 300 combo, still sitting at that 99 accuracy, as they sit 400,000 score above Baz. And that is GG's. It is a sweep from Timmel, 5-0. And a 1 miss on that Hidden 2 is genuinely kind of crazy. I believe that's a score that rivals Ava's. And it's just well played from both players, and it was very nice to see both these players play. Good luck to Baz in the losers bracket, and good luck to Timmel on the next bracket, going further into the winners, going to the round of 16 next week, I believe. And generally just good luck to both these players. They both played quite well in their own respects. Timmel pulling out, 2 FCs and some crazy scores across the board, and Baz, maybe not showing it in this map, but, also the other maps did pull out some decent scores, were able to fight for their own, and just unfortunately couldn't bring it out for this match.